What's going on YouTube? So this is a quick little video on how to install just a basic light switch. So what you're gonna need: a pair of pliers, a knife preferably, some wire strippers, and a Phillips screwdriver. You don't really need wire strippers or wire cutters, but it makes it a little bit easier. So the first thing you're gonna wanna do is locate your hot wire and then the wire that's gonna go up to the ceiling light. So that ceiling light is this wire right here. And then the hot wire that's bringing power in, I have it marked with black electrical tape so I know, is this one. So once you distinctly figure out which ones go where, what you're gonna do is you're gonna take your two white wires, you're gonna tie these together like this. Like I mentioned a second ago, you're gonna take your two white wires, you're gonna tie these together. So take your pliers, wrap them like this around each other, and just twist it. Twisting it like this is gonna tie them together. Make sure you twist it not too tight because you will break the copper that's inside of this, but tight enough where if you try to pull it apart, it's not gonna come apart. Another thing I did not mention is you're going to need wire caps. So you can get this for like, I don't know, but I think it's like 15 bucks. Regular size wire cap. You're gonna take that wire cap, you're gonna throw it over these white wires. Okay. Once you do that, you're gonna push that white one to the side. You're gonna take your white wire, or your ground wires. There's the two copper wires, the two exposed copper wires. You're gonna do the same thing, you're gonna twist these together. And then what I like to do is I'll leave a little bit of it exposed down here, and then twist the other piece around just like that. So now that you got these two tied together, and then your whites tied together, again, you're gonna figure out which is your hot wire. So it's this one. This is my hot wire that's bringing in power. This is my hot wire that's gonna take power to my ceiling fan. The hot wire will go on the bottom of your light switch. If you do not know which one is the top and the bottom, some light switches, I don't know if you could see it, but if it'll focus, right there, you can see right here that it says top. Most of the time, well, not most of the time, I don't really know about any other light switches. I mainly use these ones. This brass piece, this will be on top, and then right here you'll find lettering that says top. So this is top, this is bottom. Your hot wire, you're gonna take your pliers and you're gonna twist it just like that, so it makes about a 90-degree hook. You're gonna take your hot wire that's bringing power in, you're gonna put that on the bottom. And then you'll tighten it up. You're not tight enough where you're not gonna be able to pull this out, because if this slips out, one, your light's not gonna work no more. Two, it can cause an electrical fire. You don't want that. So then you're gonna take your hot wire that's going to your ceiling fan and or light, do the same thing, make a 90-degree hook. Make sure it doesn't touch your ground, but my power's off, so I don't really gotta worry about that. And then you're gonna put this around the screw that's on top. That's going to the box that's coming from another location, from whether it's a breaker or if you're tying it in somewhere else and you got a hot wire coming in from somewhere else. That goes on the bottom. It's always gonna go on the bottom. So that way when it completes the circuit, when you flip the switch, it'll break the circuit or complete it. The one that's going to the ceiling fan, that one goes on top. Okay, so now after you get those tied together and they're tight, and you're going to take your ground wire, roughly do about the same thing, a 90-degree hook, or you can do it however you want it, some sort of hook, put it on the screw, and tighten the screw. Okay, so now that's on there. So now, what I highly recommend You don't have to do this, but I highly recommend doing it. Especially if you have a metal box, you really want to do this. If you have a metal box instead of a blue or gray plastic box, get some electrical tape. It's pretty inexpensive. Get some electrical tape and wrap it around that ground wire. So what that'll do is it'll keep anything from shorting out, touching each other, shorting out, whatever. So that way you don't have an electrical fire and or you don't burn your house down. Try to cover almost all of the exposed wire that you can. Again, you don't really have to do this if you have a plastic box, but it's highly recommended in case if the wire gets bent somehow and or touches like these aluminum sides. If it touches those aluminum sides, it'll ground out on the side of it and it'll be no good. So also what could happen is if something ever happened where it gets turned around or whatever and somehow touches one of these connectors, it'll start blowing fuses and won't be too fun. So once you get done taping that off, another thing I like to do to help secure this, since I have electrical tape, I'm just gonna tie these two together so that way this cap will never, it's not gonna come loose regardless, but just in case if something ever happens, you know you have another sense of security that this isn't gonna go nowhere. Because with this electrical tape on there, once you get it tight, it's not gonna really want to come off, but it just helps secure it. So then what you're gonna do is you're gonna take your white and everything else, you're just gonna shove it into the box. So then once you get everything shoved into the box, you're just gonna push this back into here, and then you're just going to make sure the top is facing up. And then you're gonna put the bottom screw in, and that's how you install a light switch.